Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two Sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
Happy Disney Plus week. Woo! All of our dreams have come true. As I told Sweetie today, I never thought this day would come. You know how difficult it's been having this podcast, trying to do movies that have shaped our lives and having almost none of them available.
A good chunk of them.
It's
I
like-
wouldn't say none.
Yeah.
A good chunk. We have so many memories of Disney movies, and so it was really disheartening to not be able to stream any of those.
And, you know, we worked our way around it, I'm just going to say.
Yeah, we got
you know,
we got real DVDs
We got real
that were scratched as
DVDs.
fuck, so didn't play.
we got some at the library.
That's the one that was scratched as fuck and didn't
Yeah,
play.
we might have like YouTube something. I mean, we like really made it work. But it's like Disney heard our prayers and many other people's, obvi, and then released their streaming service, which, you know, I've only used it today, but it's great. It's awesome. Everything's on there. Everything you wanted and more.
Isn't that like a marketing ploy that's like take away all the stuff that people need and then
Yes.
start selling it, and you're like, oh, now I need to buy this.
Well, the thing with all that, I mean, what I didn't love about it was that like vault bullshit, you know, which is like seemed like a lot of the classics were. And they would do this thing where they'd be like, okay, better buy this copy of whatever, or then it's going in the vault. We're not selling anymore. And it was like all that kind of like weird shit. Like, I don't know. Like, make your,
Why
make
don't
your
you
stuff
want-
available? You have enough money.
yeah, why
and
don't you want
success.
people to consume your art forms?
Right. So they made it obviously a lot
Disney.
easier. And with us, you know, I'm shocked that they're not charging like $20 a month for this because honestly, we'd pay it.
I'm sure it'll go up, but I said, they own all the content, so it's not like they're paying licensing fees or whatever.
And it's like, I'm sure they based that payment model knowing that like everyone in the world was going to buy it. So
Yeah.
it's like, why? They're not trying to like fleece everybody and make a ton of money. I'm sure they will make a ton of money, but yeah, so far so good. So
listen, the votes are in. I'm pretty pleased. A couple things not pleased about, which we'll talk about eventually. Maybe not right now, but a lot of missing. Still some old things missing.
Oh shit. I thought
Well,
it was complete.
No Watcher in the Woods. No, there's a bunch of stuff. No Brandy Cinderella. Like no Model Behavior with Justin Timberlake. Like what the fuck?
I mean, maybe they're going to be adding that stuff on.
They fucking better. You listen to Disney Plus?
Well,
Bad Model Behavior.
Also, I think that's a good marketing scheme too. Like, don't release everything at once. I don't know. Like,
yeah. A bunch of schemers.
yeah,
Those
make it like
Disney
make it
folk.
like exciting. Like, okay, and then like next year we're gonna have all this shit. Anyways, so in celebration of that, we decided, and now we could do another Disney classic, and we decided to go with probably the second oldest one that we ever used to watch, because like we were big Snow White fans. I don't know.
Or Bambi.
Or Bambi, yeah,
Pinocchio.
those
Give me
were
a
like
break.
not great. And I've seen them obviously, but they were not my favorite. But you know, obviously the fairy tale ones, huge for us, impressionable young ladies. So we picked this week, Sleeping Beauty from 1959. So old as fuck, guys. I mean, Carol was 6 years old when this came out.
Oh my god!
How sweet is that? I wonder if
Carol.
she saw it in the movie theater. We should have asked her.
I don't know. I don't think that was like a.
A thing. But did we say that was Cinderella too? We're like, we didn't think that was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Where else would you have seen it?
We'll have to call her or text her, find out the deets. I'm sure she doesn't remember. You know, it's a long time ago.
Totally.
But yeah, gorgeous movie. One
So
of our
gorgeous.
favorites. Mostly, I think, because it's so gorgeous and like the dress and the fairies and the colors. I think there's a lot just like aesthetically pleasing about this movie.
It's
that
right.
it just like makes me feel really comfortable and safe
So
until the end.
much. Yes.
but
the end is terrifying.
Overall, though, super gorge, super gorge.
Right, I agree. And like, obviously, you know the story so well. I mean, it's a very old fairy tale.
I do and I don't. I'm like, wait, but then I start like dissecting it. And I'm like, why is it this way? Why is it that? And I get confused.
Well, the bones of the story, you know, right? So that makes it like pleasurable. Obviously, Sleeping Beauty, like so gorgeous, and she was so pretty and had the most gorgeous voice. And as Sweetie said, the animation, while like I wouldn't even call it like simple because it is very like intricate, and the whole thing is just like one beautiful like tapestry painting. You kind of want to say, and it takes place like, what did Philip say, like 14th century or something. So you're like 1300s, medieval times. You know, we all know that wasn't like a great time for anybody, and they make it look like pretty.
I just want to say that I thought until just this moment, I think I've been pronouncing it medieval times. No, but it's an E, so
Yeah,
like I think you're supposed to say
medieval.
medieval, but like I said medieval.
Well, how about I used to think it was spelled MED evil, medieval.
I mean, it's an honest mistake. I don't know
It's
how
like
it's spelled.
medieval.
There's a hidden
There
A
is a
and I
hidden
in
A
there
in there,
somewhere,
yeah, it's
so
weird, it's
it's
weird.
stupid.
When did we first see this movie? So this is definitely one we had on home video. I want to say bootleg again. I don't think it was like a clam, white puffy box
No,
one,
not
right?
Sleeping Beauty. I can see the label. It was
Me
the
too.
same label as Baby Andre.
Yeah, it was off the TV
Yeah, it's like that
recorded.
blue VHS
Yeah.
label. Yeah.
For sure. And we watched the shit
I don't
out of
think
this
it was.
film.
It may not have been off the TV though, because sometimes didn't Dad when we would like rent
The
videos,
double recorder.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, we had the double recorder, so I
it's
think
not like
that's
there
what
were
it was,
commercials,
too.
and I don't remember these really playing on TV. Again, they were locked in the vault pretty much like immediately.
Yeah, I don't think they were
So I think
either.
most people had to have seen them via VHS.
Yeah.
Either their own clamshell or movie store or whatever.
And if you remember, like, when did the Disney Channel come out?
Disney Channel. I don't know, but did they even play these
I don't
really
think so.
old ones
Yeah.
on the Disney
so
Channel?
I think you're right that we like copied from like an actual copy of it, and we watched this a ton. Now, granted, like we said, beautiful movie. Obviously, there's very like sweet parts to it, stuff that kids would love. However, I would argue that this is one of the scarier Disney films, and case in point, definitely gave me nightmares. Definitely had to go into mom and dad's room and be like, can I sleep with you? And they were like, no. Thanks, mom and dad. They made me sleep on the floor, and I want to say that's a good thing for two reasons, okay? First of all, it doesn't make you ever want to do it again, because sleeping on the floor when you're scared and when you're 6 is not fun. You'd rather just be in your own bed and scared. Mm-hmm. And it didn't start a habit of being like, can I come sleep with you?
Can I come sleep on the floor?
So good for them. But I
Yes.
remember having like a nightmares about Maleficent and being like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just like a scary movie for you in general. Like, you seemed pretty scared. So that's good. We know what scares you now.
I was still
Rats.
scared.
You just seemed like more scared than like, I mean, you said it was the scariest children's movie or whatever, but like, I think you mean scariest movie because you were pretty scared.
Maleficent is very intense. And I'm glad that and we'll talk about this later, they've done some backstory for her, which is good because you got to wonder, like, what's going on with this woman? Like, why is she so bad? And they give her, I think, a good backstory. And I haven't seen those movies, but I've heard they're actually pretty good, and I do kind of want to see them. But she's such an interesting character. And now looking at it, like, as an older person, I think she's, like, pretty cool, but so evil.
I think she's scary. She's scarier than I thought she was when I was little, maybe even. I'm like, whoa.
She
what?
appears in the fireplace? What the fuck?
Oh my God, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
That's, I think, the exact scene I had a nightmare
Yeah,
about.
I mean, it's
Like,
really-
she
it's
was
really
like, came out of
spooky.
the dark and was like,
Yeah, she's just like lurking in the shadow. Scary. But despite that, still loved his movie when I was little. Obsessed with all the dress scenes and a lot of the fairy scenes, making the cake, the dress, all that stuff. I love it. Some of it, and this is another movie that I thought would be like kind of long because it seems long when I was little. Because a lot of times these movies have like all the fun stuff kind of in the beginning, and then towards the end it starts getting a little boring-ish. Not boring, but like I wanted to see more princesses in dresses. Basically, it was like what was on my mind. It was just like prince and dungeon, goblins, dragon. I was like, eh.
well, Aurora, or Briar Rose, whatever you want to call her, plays a very short part in this movie. Let's be real. She's asleep for a lot of it, or she's like a baby. So there's not like a lot to her. And I think they said she only has like 18 lines in the whole movie, and she has those 2 songs, which are like a big chunk of it, right? So she's singing for a lot of it, and she does have a lovely voice. But it doesn't really stand out, let's say, as and these like kind of Cinderella, Snow White, this one, they didn't really have like the princesses in them like didn't do a lot.
Yeah, they didn't have. They weren't like characters. Like, they didn't get a personality.
Right, and
just,
it was like all the side people in it. Like, okay, so for Snow White, it's
or
the dwarves.
they were all the same kind of. Those three specifically were all basically the same person. It was just an archetype of like nice girl talks to animals. Yay!
Right,
super sweet.
Wants a boyfriend, is lonely, then like falls asleep,
falls in love immediately.
Falls in love immediately. Yep, and then
yeah.
like something happens to her, and then like the prince comes and saves her. And then all the side characters are so strong. So you have like the seven dwarves, you have Cinderella, you have the mice. They're really kind of the center part of the story. And this one, it's really a movie about the fairies. I mean, let's be real. And I read like I looked at some article today that was like, why Sleeping Beauty is like the first feminist cartoon. And I didn't read it, but it must be like around the fairies and how they're like badass and like do everything
but
for
not
everybody.
really, because the still Philip gets all the credit probably. Like
yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's like totally the world, right? You have like women behind the scenes pulling the ropes and the men are like, yeah, I'm a hero. So interesting. I didn't read the article. Maybe I should. But still a beautiful film, still really, really lovely. And Disney, so this came out in 1959. They didn't do another fairy tale story till The Little Mermaid in 1989. So they took that big old 40-year gap.
Yeah. They did a lot of
gap.
they did a lot of animal.
Wait, 30-year gap.
Yeah, those seem like a lot of years, but they did a lot of like animal stuff in between. You know, Robin Hood, Fox and the Hound, Lady and the Tramp.
I wonder why they made that choice. Did they like
know.
run out of fairy tales or something?
Maybe, or they're like getting a lot of flack from the feminists. I don't know. Who knows? Who
What feminists?
fucking knows?
1959.
They were there. Hello, like Susan B. Anthony was in like 19 whatever. So
18.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Even earlier.
No, definitely. I'm just kidding. But yeah, love this movie. And I also love it for a couple other reasons. So tied to the ballet, which, you know, former dancer here. And this is my favorite ballet. We'll go into detail a little bit about how the ballet differs from this story. But my main and love for this movie, and I thought what was so creative, was that they use a majority of the Tchaikovsky score from the ballet to like score this film. And they made some variations and really smart choices with it. And it made like this amazing, the music is like half the great part of this. Like it's so well done and it's beautiful. And it's my favorite piece of music like ever. Tchaikovsky's my favorite composer, but this is like by far my favorite ballet. And like, I was like going nuts, like conducting, like
she was going quite wild.
The cat was like
the couch
going
was
nuts.
shaking. It was this before or after Fantasia? This movie,
I don't know.
because it was probably a good warm up for them. Because that's, I mean, the same thing, right?
Right.
They had the start with the music and then animate from there.
Yeah.
And so I think they did that a lot with the sleep, because this you'll talk about the differences with the ballet, but it's really quite different what the actual music is used for in the
Right.
ballet versus this.
Well, that's why I think it was so clever.
Yeah.
Like they weren't just like, you know, converting the ballet music to fit exactly
I
what
think it's
happened
awesome.
in the film. They really like thought outside the box with it. And I want to say like Fantasia maybe happened between Cinderella and this one, because this movie took like 10 years to put together. So they did like, you know, the drawing took a certain part, and then like a couple of years they had to do like all the voice stuff. And so it just like took a long time. So they started the work in like 52 or something after Cinderella was done. And then it took them till 59 to like really complete it. So it was a labor of love. And, you know, maybe that's why Walt Disney was like, let's not do these fairy tale ones
Yeah,
anymore.
they take too fucking long, you
Too
guys.
hard.
Too hard. Okay, cool. I guess we can just start.
Boom. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we all know the plot of Sleeping Beauty, but we'll put our own spin on it, as we do. It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
One gift, beauty fair, gold of sunshine in her hair.
King Stefan and his queen. She gets no name because that's right, folks. This is not a feminist film. I'm
This
sorry.
is not a feminist
The very first line pretty much proves to me that this is not a feminist film, because it's King Stefan and his queen. No name.
Why couldn't they
Bullshit.
just put in and queen blah blah?
Right. Just pick a name. Pick a name. Bathilda. Whatever. Like, it's anything. Any name. Anyways, they are childless. They would like a child. I'm not sure how old they are. I'm going to guess pretty young. Keep it up, guys.
IVF
Whatever.
back then, guys.
But they like wished and hoped for a child. And what do you know? They got one. Because that's how it works. And it's a beautiful child. And she's a princess, obviously. So they have this big birthday, whatever, celebration.
Party.
Everybody's marching in from the kingdom. There's like 8,000 different colored horse banners and
Big on
flags.
Big with the flags here.
People are marching in. It's this joyous occasion. So we meet some characters. We got King, what was his? Hubert, whose son Philip is betrothed to Princess Aurora. You know what? I'll admit I had a hard time saying the name Aurora when I was little. I'm okay with it now, but I feel like a little nervous every time I say it. Like I'm gonna mess it up, but it's a little difficult. Anyways,
Want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
So you know, in like 7th grade, you take Spanish for the first time. You get to pick like a Spanish
yeah,
name.
I was Margarita. So were you?
Yeah. So my friend Sarah Wood, who was like my best friend, but also like ballet competitor, we like shared all the same roles, and we actually shared Sleeping Beauty when we did do it, but we like kind of secretly hated each other. She picked like all the fucking ballet names. So what was her Spanish name for the first year? Aurora. I'm like, you piece of shit.
Is that Spanish?
It was one of the choices.
Weird.
I know.
Huh. Interesting.
I know.
Anyways, so the fairies come to bestow some gifts because in this kingdom, fairies bestow you gifts on your birthday. So if you're a princess. So we got Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, who are sisters, even though Merryweather seems like she's from a different father, but you know, that's a story for a different
Well, like,
sequel.
what's a Merryweather? I mean, I know where they were going with the Flora and Fauna because it's like,
She's
you know,
the odd duck. She's the odd
She
duck
is the
out.
odd duck
She's
in
the
a lot
only
of
one. She's the Miranda. She's like the voice of reason.
yeah, she's the only one with sense.
Yeah, so it's just I love that bitch. But basically, so they each do a gift. Flora is the eldest and the one in charge. Gives Aurora the gift of beauty. Here comes the spiral of different colors.
I will say this is where the animation for me was like pretty bad.
I love that spiral.
What?
There's just something about it that's like so.
I just didn't
weird.
like the paper cutout birds.
No, I just like the galaxy
I love the
spiral, and they were like
galaxy
different
spiral.
colors, and it was like
I love that.
the
but
pretty
then
song.
It's like kind of basic, but I think it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like kind of.
Leave
Like,
my spirals alone.
it's supposed to be more symbolic. It's not supposed to be like detailed.
It's the spell. The spell is working. That's
Yeah.
how it works. So Gift of Beauty, Fauna, the middle one, she's like a little daft, sweet but super dumb. She gives Aurora the gift of song. Sure.
This
Okay.
is also why you know this is not a feminist film because they went with beauty, song. You know, if I was a fairy, I'd be like, here's some braids. Here's 1,600 on the SATs. Here's
Did you say
the
braids?
brains. Here's the ability to speak a foreign language.
I guess braids. I guess braids would be important.
No, you are dumb. Talk about dumb.
practical hair. I don't know.
He needs braids. Braids.
Merryweather, however, is about to give her gift when the evil Maleficent, mistress of all evil.
Okay, so is it for reals they forgot or they left her off on purpose?
Pretty sure they left her off on
Yeah,
purpose.
that's
Why
what
would
I
you
think.
want to invite her? She would be so weird.
Well, the ballet, it's
She's-
a different story.
It's just like super awkward. Whatever. So here she comes.
Well, she's evil. Of course
She's
she's not
a
invited.
demon. She's a demon from hell, and she's like, why don't you bitches invite me? She's scary as fuck.
And
she
then
has.
if she bestowed a gift, it probably would have been like, and horrible acne.
She did bestow a gift.
No, but like but it was like way worse because she wasn't invited and got like
Oh,
snubbed. But
yeah.
if it's like, what is an evil gift? Like bad gas all your life. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, terrible. That's about what you got. You won. You're
Crooked
Aurora.
teeth, no braces.
Hey.
These are all very cosmetic.
So she's pissed. She's a demon. She's got like these scary black horns and a neck. A kind of like greenish color. What
Listen, why is she so big?
do you mean?
Well, the
Tall.
other fairies
She's
are so small.
Because she's evil. She can use her power for like whatever she wants, and that's how she like consumes it and like absorbs and like puts it out there that she's this big evil creature. So She's like, oh, I'm not mad you forgot to invite me, but I would like to do a gift. And the fairies are like, no. And she puts her staff down and is like, on the eve of her 16th birthday, before
the sun sets
on her 16th birthday, she will prick her finger on a spindle and die. And whoa, it really
Way harsh tie.
turns up that to just 11. And it's just like, yep.
You're not invited to a party and you're killing people?
What is this vendetta? And like, I am interested to watch the Maleficent movies because I'm like, what? Why does this bitch care so much? And it's very different in those. I think she loves Aurora or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's intense. So don't worry though, because Merryweather still has her gift to bestow. She steps up to the plate, and the king's like, "Oh, you can undo this, thank God." And they're like, "No.
That's not how magic works.
That is not how magic works." Even though everything else we've seen is like, you seem to be able to undo most of the things that happen. Although I guess they make them less severe, so I guess it fits with that. But Merryweather bestows the gift of protection, or like, is it even classified as anything?
No, she's not going to die now, so that's good.
She's
That's off
gonna,
the table.
she's gonna fall asleep.
She's fall asleep instead, and then not forever. She will be awakened with true love's first kiss. So it ties in with like a meet cute. So that's good. I mean, two birds with one stone.
It does, but it also is suggesting that she has to fall in love before her 16th birthday to find somebody.
Right.
Because if she
And,
falls
like,
asleep, how is she going to meet somebody,
Right,
Merryweather?
but also confusing because Phil, like, she's betrothed already as like a tiny baby.
Right. So is that the true love?
Yeah.
Is that going to fit for the magic
Right.
gods
And
or
honestly,
whatever?
what happened was just like pretty damn lucky.
That was
it ended
lucky,
up
yeah.
being like the same person, but like, what if it wasn't?
What do you know? So the king's freaked as fuck, and he's like, okay, well, even though you put this like protection kind of thing on her, I'm still gonna burn all the spindles in the kingdom. So LOL, we just have to walk around naked, I guess, from now on, because no way to make clothes. I don't know of any
They
other
don't
way to make
explain
clothes.
that, and also
Hand
like
sew the
horrible
clothes.
idea, because then she'll never know what it looks like
And be
won't
like-
know how to avoid it.
And won't be like, what is this sharp thing? Should I
Yes.
touch it?
Right.
Also, I don't think it mattered though, because I think Maleficent was like brain controlling her.
Right.
But whatever. So burns all the spindles, and then the fairies they're like, we still have to protect her in some way. They think of ways to save her. They decide that they should disguise themselves as the three peasant ladies who have a random beautiful child who's very tall. And good disguise. I mean,
It works.
Would I have noticed? Probably. It's like Superman. It's like Batman. It's like Batman and Robin. You're like, wow, I wonder who that well dressed Batman with all the like the expensive gadgets could possibly be, and his sidekick.
It
that
also
guy
seems
who was
to
a circus
me.
performer.
It also seems to me that they didn't see anybody.
They
right?
just got shut up in that cottage.
Yeah.
They take her away to this cottage where she will stay for 16 years and be raised by these three fairies who have to give up their magic basically so that nobody knows that it's them.
Right.
But
and
I'm saying, like, I think people will know it's you because you're wearing the same colors you did when you were a fairy.
Oh, no, definitely. But I mean, that's, I think, also the reason why they like avoid
Don't
people
see people,
altogether.
yeah.
But they don't tell her she's a princess, and they call her Briar Rose. And so she lives in
I'm
this
not sure they
a
tell her
very happy
anything.
life with her little aunties.
I have so many questions.
They don't tell her
like,
anything.
No. Do they tell her anything? Do they teach her anything? How does she know what a princess? How does she know? Do they tell her what like what about when she got her period? Did they know what that was? No, probably not. There's a lot of logistical questions here. I'm very concerned about
Why wouldn't they know what that was?
because they're fairies. They don't get that.
They might get the
They don't get their
periods.
period.
You don't know if
they
they
don't
have-
need to
they get a
pre-period. They
fairy
don't pre-
period?
Why? No, that's no. They don't.
I'm sure they figured it out. But, they don't figure out a lot of stuff because Sweetie said that they had 16 years to figure out how to do shit, and they
didn't.
cannot do basic
So
tests.
I don't know what the fuck they were doing for 16 years, but they did not do it shit as far as I could see. So now it's her birthday or whatever. So
16
they're
years
like,
later.
they're 16. She's finally 16. Is a model, wouldn't you know it? She got that gift of beauty and song and a brilliant singer.
didn't even have to try.
So yeah, no trying there. So they send her out to go pick blueberries and or berries, and then they're like, we'll get all this stuff ready and surprise her and tell her she's a surprise, you're a princess. So they're like, let's make a cake and a dress. And Merryweather, the only sane one, is like, we don't know how to do that stuff. And they're like, yes, we do. She's like, I'm gonna get the wands. You guys stay here. And they're like, no, we can't use the wands because if they'll use their magic, they'll be found out.
But to your point, like, who was supplying them clothes for years?
Right.
If they didn't know how to sew.
They didn't know how to sew. Where are they getting their clothes? Did they walk into the
What were they doing for food?
village or whatever? Berries.
Who was cooking?
They were subsisting on a diet of berries, apparently. Yeah, it's very suspect. So she's out there gathering berries. The fairies are trying their best to make a cake and make a dress. They're failing horribly. Meanwhile, Maleficent has been searching for her for 16 years. Finds out her goon squad, little goblins, have been looking for a baby this whole time. And she gets so mad. But listen, did she explain to them? Did they have the crime technology where you like recreate someone's face and like age them so you know what they look like? These fucking goblins don't know. They don't know anything. I mean, do they have they have tiny brains? Like she's very unfair. Obviously a dictator.
Horrible employer.
Yeah.
They should leave.
Yeah.
They should quit immediately.
So she's like, all right, I'm going to do what I should have done 16 years ago and promote my my familiar crow here. Did he have a name? Like,
I found it out in the trivia. I don't know like why people know this, but they said it was Diablo
for devil?
That seems strange.
That seems
choice.
The Spanish
The
lit name for
Spanish word for devil. Who said that? I'm like, is it listed as the credits? Like Diablo, played by Fred Jones.
Is that what it said? No,
trivia.
where did it say that?
Trivia.
That is. Oh, yeah. Someone made that up, obviously, based on the Spanish version of Sleeping Beauty that they had.
Diablo, the crow.
So she sends the crow out. He's like flying around, like, yeah, I'll find this bitch in 2 seconds, bitches. So Aurora's like gathering berries. Here's what she's been doing for 16 years, making friends with the forest critters.
Because that's all she's got.
That's all she's got, berries and the critters.
Dreams.
So she's gotten very close to these critters. There's an owl she seems very fond of. They're very sweet. They love her. They like when she sings, blah, blah, blah. So she gets all like flirty and she's like, oh, I met someone. And they're all excited. But then it's like, oh, just kidding. It was just a guy in my dream.
I feel like the owl was like friend zoned. I feel like he felt sad.
I'm telling you, they were
I think
very
he was really
close.
into her.
They were very close.
I mean, he jumped right in her basket. Like
I know.
And he was supposed to be sleeping. Let's
Yeah.
remember that, they sleep during the day, those owls.
When does he
Nocturnal.
Yeah. When does he sleep? So he has to sleep at night.
And when he was like, pretending to be the prince,
Yeah,
he was like
I
really
made
in
it.
that role.
I have
Breaks
done
my
it.
heart a little.
I have arrived. Oh, buddy. So they do this fun thing, and she sings the song. I know you, I danced with you once upon a dream. Meanwhile, Prince Philip, that old rascal, is out riding around.
He's a 20-year-old hottie now, guys.
Doing Prince stuff in the woods
He's
with
like
his
20,
horse,
right?
Samson. Yeah,
She's
he's a little
16?
older.
Yeah.
And he hears this beautiful voice in the distance. And he's like, that can't be human. I will follow it.
He's like, it's a nymph.
I will be seduced by its charms because I'm bored. And he rides off to find it. But some animals steal his clothes and he follows them. The animals are so sweet. They're like, let's pretend to be a prince so we can make her happy. So it's this whole thing. And then he interrupts and basically not sexually harasses, but like, just like moves in right away, touches her waist. Literally, guys, she's never seen a man in her life. I'm surprised she wasn't like, "Wah!" and just like ran away. She is
like
scared
that
at
for like
first.
a second. But.
She's scared at first, and then he starts singing with his like glorious pipes. And he's like,
then her pants drop.
And then she's like, oh yeah, it's still a little spooky. And then she takes like one more walk around a tree and she's like, oh, I love you. And then they just like are obsessed with each other
so
and
cute.
have made plans to get married pretty much the next day.
Oh my God.
So she's like, listen, come over tonight. She has to go because she forgot she said she'd be home by like a certain time. She's like, stop by the cottage. Doesn't even ask her aunts, like, is this okay? I met this random guy. Meanwhile, you guys, literally every time they send this bitch out in the woods, they're like, don't talk to strangers. And so she talks to a stranger. First thing she does, come over to the cottage.
But he was a cute stranger.
That does not matter.
I mean, that's what a Maleficent
she's
should have
never
done.
seen-
Dressed up as a hottie, and she would have gone to the spindle immediately.
Yes. Totally.
Come touch my
Missed
spindle.
opportunity. So she's all excited, goes back to the cottage. The fairies at this point have decided to give up on trying to do things, and they get the wands out. Merryweather and Flora engaged in a color war where Merryweather thinks the dress should be blue and Flora thinks it should be pink. They go back and forth until they like whatever. So their wands are spitting out this like fairy dust magic everywhere. As smartly plugged up all the holes in this cottage so that no one would see they were using magic. They forgot the biggest hole of all, the chimney. So all the magic goes up the fucking chimney and makes like fireworks of blue and pink. And who should see it but old Diablo flying around, sees the, there they are. So they flies down there and gets front row seat to this show. Finds out that she lives there with the fairies and that they're taking her back to the castle tonight and that she fell in love with a random stranger in the woods. So the fairies are like, what? You met a stranger? What the fuck? And they're like, well, I hate to break it to you, but like, surprise, you're a princess. Yay. And
you're engaged already.
And you're engaged to this other prince. And Briar Rose is like, no. It just like completely loses it and just like cries in her bed. Heartbreak. We've all been there. I get where she's coming from, but like, you just got told you're a princess. Like, you don't have to live in this shitty cottage anymore and pick berries for the rest of your life.
It's not that bad.
It's gonna
and
be
you
good.
Met it for half a second. Like, calm the fuck down.
Right. It's so sad.
Also, you're a princess. Maybe you can have affairs. Come on.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Philip has like told his father that he's fallen in love. So now, what's his name? Humphrey? Hubert tells King Stefan like, oh, we got a problem, but whatever. They're not really listening. They seem to be alcoholics, so that's like their main shtick is that they just like
else to do.
Get together and drink
Hubert was.
jugs of wine and eat like turkey legs is all they did.
Well, he doesn't tell Stefan then. Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
So they bring Aurora back to the castle. She's like all mopey, but is wearing her beautiful new dress and a beautiful cloak. And they take her up to the tallest tower room. There's no one there. It's desolate. I don't know why it wasn't like a fanfare celebration. Like, I don't know. Maybe I guess they were waiting. Well, I think they were waiting until she had officially, sundown. So I think they were like not taking any chances. But they did take chances to be like, okay, we'll leave you here while you cry about this guy you met for 2 seconds. So they leave her alone, and Maleficent has appeared in the chimney as a terrifying black shadow green orb thing. Whew, boy, is it spooky. She makes a spooky green light appear that makes the spooky secret door into the chimney into like further into the tower and these like unknown parts of the tower. Really spooky. So she's like, Aurora's like possessed, basically. She's following this green orb up and is like, huh? The fairies hear this and are like, oh fuck, they can't find her because there's like 8 different random hidden passageways in this tower. She gets to the top of the stairs and the green orb morphs into a spindle, and Maleficent's voice is like, touch the spindle, touch it, touch it. And Aurora's like, okay, and just like touches the needle
for like a second.
Touches the needle, immediately falls down sleeping. The fairies are pissed at themselves, like, how could we do this? Like, how could we let the king and queen down? Which, like, fair point. If I was them, I'd be pissed as fuck. But Flora's like, we're not going to tell them that this happened. We're going to put everybody to sleep until Aurora.
So we fix this mistake.
We fix this mistake. I mean, and find true love for Aurora.
I mean, that's project management.
I don't know what
it is.
What they're thinking. I don't know. Yeah, they just like fly to another kingdom and be like, hey, do you want to fall in love? Do you want to fall in love? Like, what was their plan, right? If they hadn't found out that, oops, her true love was actually Prince Philip, like, what would they have done?
Like I said, I think there was something where like she would sleep for 100 years, and then so they figured that everyone would sleep for 100 years.
But then what happened?
And then she just wakes up.
What?
Yeah, right.
Well, what's the point of that? If nobody's aging in the sleep, it's just like nothing happened. There's like not a consequence in that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
maybe
kind of weird. I mean, that's probably true, but I don't know. So, meanwhile, they're all putting the people in the village, not the village, the kingdom asleep, and Flora overhears King Hubert trying to tell King Stefan that like, oh, actually, my son doesn't want to marry Aurora because he fell in love with a peasant girl.
A pencil skirt. Pencil neck.
Peasant girl. And Flora's like, peasant girl? And makes him tell her, like, what is it? And she figures it out that, like, oh, the man she met in the woods was actually Prince Philip. Yay. So that's her true love.
Right.
So now they're like, we got to get Prince Philip. As luck would have it, he's not at the castle because he was on his way to a rendezvous at the cottage. Yep. Briar Rose was basically like, yo, I live in the cottage. Come find me, bitch. And then, like, they fled. She said in the Glen, so like I guess he knew where that was, but still, whatever. You know, these were the old days before maps and like GPS and stuff. So, whatever. So he goes like la la, goes to the cottage, so excited to see this girl again. unfortunately, Maleficent is there waiting for him. And she's like, oh, I was expecting a peasant man, but you're the prince. And she's all excited. So she takes him back to her evil layered dungeon on the mountain of darkness or whatever. What's it called?
Yeah, I would say Mount Doom. That's different.
Yeah, that's not it.
Universe. But, obviously she's doing whatever she can to make it so like she won't wake up. And this is like, she's figured out he's the true love. So what are we going to do? We're going to lock him up.
We're going to lock him up in the
Problem
dungeon
solved.
for 100 years.
Her curse like lives on.
Yeah.
So she can sleep well now. She's like, okay.
I think if the 100
check,
years
got Aurora, like got the true love. We're good.
I think it's the 100 years is like if it doesn't happen by then, it's over, it's done. She is dead for real. That's my guess. Because that's why she keeps him there and he's like old and has the beard. Like it's too late now. So he spent all that
And
time.
he would also be 120 years old.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not even possible. Are you going to feed him? I don't see his health being too great in the dungeon.
And that the horse was still alive? Come on.
Samson,
Come on.
he's a god.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So the fairies are like, okay, they figured out that not only is, as luck would have it, Prince Philip the true love, but also he's the one she's betrothed to. So awesome. So they're like, we got to go rescue him. So they go to the fucking scary castle, even though they've never been there because it's scary as fuck. And you know why? Because it's basically like hell on earth. I mean, it's like
The
there's
goblin,
crazy goblin
there's like
parties.
a bonfire.
Yeah, like a crazy bonfire, green bonfire, like
Pitchforks.
The castle is in bad shape. There's these all of her guards are like these weird pig kind of things.
Very drafty.
Yeah.
It's hell.
It's sketchy, but he's
yeah.
Locked in the basement. So basement.
There's no basement in the castle of doom.
I think it might have been the tower. Dungeon basement.
Tower's up top.
So they go down there and they're like, hey, listen, we're going to get you out of here. We're also going to give you this awesome enchanted sword and this awesome enchanted shield. And Prince Philip's like, yes, new toys. And he's pretty pumped because they're all enchanted, like they're extra special. But then they're like, hey, we really can't help you out after this, even though they like totally do. So they get them all out of the chains and then they end up like escaping the castle of doom or whatever, the evil castle. And despite all these like different obstacles, so they help him out. They turn like
Even though they said they wouldn't.
vats of oil into a rainbow, arrows into flowers, like big rocks into bubbles. Very cool scene. And so he like gets out of there, but then Maleficent's like, hell no, you're not ruining this for me. I'm covering the kingdom that Aurora is in, so that where she's sleeping, in thorns. So the whole thing, all these thorns.
Brambles.
So he uses his now enchanted sword to get through all the brambles and all the thorns, and it's like this crazy scene, and it's just like nuts. He gets through there.
He got through it. With a
Lot of
little
skills.
help from
Yeah.
the fairies
Yeah,
who were
he's got
blasting
help.
away the brambles also.
Yeah.
So.
And then Maleficent's like,
Yeah,
fuck
this.
you.
Turning things up another notch.
Do it myself. So she gets into his way and turns into basically the scariest version of Pete's dragon I've ever seen.
It's her as a dragon.
Black purple. It's like black purple. I mean, she like kind of was dragon-esque because she had those like
The
big
horns and the like black.
Yeah, she's
neck.
very
It's
dragon-esque, but she is huge.
It's a really big dragon. It's the biggest dragon I've ever seen on film.
And spits like scary green fire.
Spits scary green fire. I'm not sure how he's going to beat this. He barely beats it. He gets mostly killed almost, and then the fairies are he's like has one chance, and the fairies save the day again by enchanting the sword to fly basically, and he just throws it at Maleficent and it stabs her right in the heart. And it's like and she's dead.
Well, my favorite part is the noise that she makes.
That's your favorite part?
No, I just of the whole movie. I mean, that'd be pretty grim.
It's so serious. The stab wound like looks so painful.
Yeah.
Like it's like it seems to like really cut.
But it's like
puncture
whoever the woman
skin.
who does that voice, like she did this like amazing like ow like
Yeah.
scream that's like so good,
It is.
and then she basically just is like a black spot on the ground
Yeah.
with a sword in
Yeah.
it. Very scary.
Yep.
But then all the brambles and all the thorns move away, and Prince Philip is free to go.
Well, we don't have to live in this town anymore.
free,
Pack up, boys.
free to go. Moved away. You didn't like that term? No, fine. Goes to the castle. She's in the very top tower, and sees her all sleeping there. She looks so pretty, but
I know,
time to
that
wake up.
bitch. Perfect.
And he
As
kisses her,
usual.
and then she awakens, and she's been dreaming of him this whole time anyway. So imagine, you've been dreaming of someone, and then you wake up, and then they're there, and and then you get to fucking get married.
And then you find out they're a psychopath,
No,
and
he
you're
wasn't.
stuck with them forever. No, but yeah, good for her. Yay, they go down. So meanwhile, everyone else has been awakened. And so to them, nothing has happened. And to us, we're like, oh my God, that was some close shit. Like, thank God that like lucky thing happened and they found all this shit out, right? Or otherwise we'd been fucking screwed. So they come down and they're like, yay, we're in love. And everyone's like, wow, that was easy. Like, they thought this was going to have to be like some long time. Like, I don't know. Not everyone's going to fall in love with their betrothed.
Yeah.
They could be an ugly
Really worked out.
person,
A happy
but
ending.
yeah, I was
as
really
Fauna
happy for
says.
them. And they just danced away into the clouds, and it's a lovely, lovely moment.
I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream.
Once upon a dream. Correct. Do you think they made it?
Of course. There's true love there is.
There's just like no other option in fairy tales. That's why I like Into the Woods, because it's like a realistic spin on like maybe Cinderella wasn't happy.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, I'll talk about like just this concept of like this prince and all this bullshit that we were like fed as kids. But I mean, I think the coming out of this movie, the big question for me is pink or blue. I mean,
Obviously.
where are you on that argument?
Obviously blue.
Okay, here's my thing, right? When I was growing up, yes, and I still do agree that is blue only because of Aurora and her skin color and hair.
Yeah.
The pink does not look good with
No.
the blonde.
It's not good for her
And
skin.
like in all
her
the
skin
marketing,
tone,
I was
coloring.
like looking at pictures and stuff to put on my Instagram, and it's only her in the pink dress.
Really?
And I'm like, what are they doing?
But the box, the like cover, like of it is the blue. So
I don't know.
That's confusing.
But like all the, you know how they've updated a lot of like the Disney print. So if you're a Disney princess,
Yeah.
like they've updated it and made like them look a little more modern or whatever. And all that imagery is like her in the
all
pink
the
dress.
the costumes for the little girls. I've never seen a blue
Yeah,
Sleeping Beauty. I
what
don't
is
know.
up
Maybe
with
they're like,
that?
oh, we don't want to be confused with Cinderella or something. But like, no, the blue's the best, and that's it.
Oh, definitely.
That's
and
it.
So, but I would say, so when I was growing up, I definitely preferred blue over pink. I wasn't like a pink girl, but I am now a pink
Yeah,
girl.
you're now
which
a pink
is
person.
funny. And I wouldn't choose blue. But for myself, I mean, I'm a brunette, so luckily I look good in both colors. But I would say,
Good for you.
But like if she was a redhead, I don't think I'd pick pink either.
Do we forget Ariel when they put her in that pink
That
dress?
looked awful.
Awful.
I know. So interesting, and I think that is such a funny part of the whole movie. And I guess that was like a real disagreement that many of the animators had, which is why they stuck it in there.
Cute.
Yeah, so
Love
that
that.
was like kind of
Love
cute. But I
it.
love how that like ends. That lasts till the end, and they're like dancing in the clouds,
Yeah.
and they're still doing it.
And it's like
really
in the
cute.
book, that's a really cool effect
Yeah.
for that
Oh, yeah.
time period is like pretty
Oh, yeah.
revolutionary, but like it continues to change color like when it's now transformed to like the pages on the
Mm-hmm.
book. So it's just like a stationary picture. Yeah, I love that.
Very cool.
But that's definitely my favorite part is when they make the dress and the cake using their magic. It's so beautiful the way that the dress comes together and it just like seamlessly is like doodle-doo and the skirt's like boo. I don't know, it just takes my breath away.
Well, just in general, so as we said, like the fairies are obviously a huge part and like my basically favorite part of this movie and why I like loved it so much as a kid. I mean, I like Sleeping Beauty, but I think as a brunette, I was never like that attached to any of the blonde princesses or any, like, I don't know. I just like couldn't relate to them. Abby.
Wow.
And like that's when Belle came along, like all us brunettes were like, oh my God, finally
found ours.
someone we can relate to. I mean, that's so like white privilege shit because you like, she was still like white.
Yeah, that's bad.
But just as hair color perspective, you know. You had American Girl doll, you probably had Samantha if you're brunette, you know, like that kind of stuff.
I had Felicity.
You did. You were outside of
Molly.
the box. But yes, like I loved all the fairy stuff and all the standout scenes are definitely them doing any kind of magic and they just like
Or not.
where they just either they like turn themselves into smaller, which is so cute, and then they fit themselves into little things, or they like whip up like a tea service and like cookies and stuff, like boop, like the way they use those wands. And then when they are in the like the little house in the woods and then they can't use their magic, and that part is so freaking funny. I've like remember that since I was a little girl, obsessed with it.
Yeah.
When she's baking the cake, I told Sweetie this earlier, that I still like whenever I have measuring spoons out, I say one tisp in my head for teaspoon, and I just like remember that little scene of her making the cake,
what does a
folding in the eggs.
Oh my God.
Fold in gently, and she just like folds in the eggs, and it makes this little crack of like the eggs cracking. Oh my God,
It's really good.
I fucking love it. And then once they have the ones, like Sweetie said, oh my God, when they can just like whip that shit up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gorgeous.
it's so
Perfect.
fun.
Perfection. Like the
Oh God, I love the
gorgeous
fairies
stuff.
so much.
My secret favorite part of this scene is the dough baby. So Fauna, they're like reminiscing about Briar Rose and how sad it is that like she'll have to go back to the castle and like they'll never not get to be with her or whatever. It's really sad. And they all
They can
are
still
kind
be
of they're both
friends.
crying. They're all crying.
They'll be aunties.
But meanwhile, Fauna has like taken the cake dough out and is like creating it like a baby and like patting it. And I just love that. I love that fucking dough baby. I want a dough baby.
If we did Halloween
so
costumes of the
bad.
three fairies,
Oh
you'd
my
like
God.
have the dough
I'd
baby.
have the dough baby. I'd be like, this is an important prop. But yeah, that scene is great. It's so funny. And they just have such great dynamic and chemistry and like that whole dynamic of Flora and Merryweather kind of like in competition with each other, but Flora always wins because she's like the oldest or whatever, and then Fauna's kind of this like kooky one in the middle who's doesn't really take sides, but mostly takes Flora's side, but is generally too kooky to like notice these conflicts amongst her sisters.
Right, and like the different personalities that they all have, which I guess like there's a push from some of the animators to make them all the same, and one guy was like, no, we got to make them all different and have different personalities, and that like really worked so well. And then just their attachment to her and how they're crying, like when they have failed and they are like she's sleeping up in the tower and they're all like crying and stuff and like, oh my God, and like they like work so hard and then they just like kind of lost in the last second, but then obviously they do good and they make it like all happen at the end. But like, I don't know, I'm just so connected to those little fairies.
Yeah, they're really sweet. I hope they do get to visit a lot because that's really sad if they don't get to hang around. But even if they do, I mean, they can become little fairies and just flit around and like spy on people, I assume, all the time. So whatever. Who was your favorite fairy when you were little? Who's your favorite fairy now?
Oh, I mean, always Merryweather.
Always and forever. So so I think that same. I'm pretty sure, but I really came on this watching to appreciate Fauna's comedic genius. I thought she was just really funny,
So funny.
and I was just like, oh, that lady's the best. Just that little naive thing, kookiness. I love that. I love that shit.
But I like them all for their certain ways. Like I love that,
I don't
you know, that
Flora's
Flora
way
is
too bossy.
Well, she's
and-
bossy, but she's really smart and she like makes shit happen. And like she's funny too. I love that part when she's like, "And you can be the dummy." Like
She's
Merryweather's
really rude.
just, like looking.
She's really mean
Well,
to
they don't like
Merryweather
each other.
because
They do not like
But
each
I
other.
always thought when I was little that she was mean to her because she was like short and fat. And they do a thing where like they have her like making all these cookies appear, and she just keeps like stuffing them in her face. And I'm like, okay, but Flora's just as like chubby as Merryweather is. She's just not as short, so you can't tell as much. But listen, Flora,
short people problems.
kettle calling the pot black. Am I right? But anyways, yeah, they're all lovely. But I did come away liking Fauna a lot on this viewing, for sure.
What a renaissance.
What other favorite parts do you have?
Okay, my other favorite part is, so obviously anything with the fairies, but then I always, you know, despite this being very spooky, the Maleficent scene in the tower when she's getting her to go do the spindle.
That's your favorite? Oh, just a scene that stuck out?
Yeah. So like we said, there's like, you know, it's this kind of like very like echoey, ghosty collie thing that's like, and that like it's kind of like low and very creepy, right? And then she just like appears in the fireplace and then just turns into this green blob, and then they light up Aurora so she looks almost like a zombie,
like a
and
ghoul.
she is kind of like possessed anyway. And then they go, and it's like this very intense scene and it's just music, and it's the Tchaikovsky music, and it actually is the music for probably the most comedic part of the ballet. It's the Puss in Boots scene. So the final act of the ballet is Aurora's a wedding, and all these fairy tale characters come to the wedding. So Puss in Boots and then this white cat come, and they do this dance, and it's like it's supposed to be like cat noises and sly, and it's like very funny. And they use that and like turned it upside down and made it to this like very creepy theme for this like part of the movie, and it's so effective. And she's like going up the stairs, and it's just this like kind of constant music that just like and it just keeps going faster and faster and faster. And then you have the little fairies being like, Rose, Rose, Rose. And it's all like echoing and stuff. And then I love when Merryweather's like, don't touch anything. And you're like, oh no, like she's going to touch the spindle. Oh my God. When I was a kid, that just like wrecked me. I was like, oh my God, this is like so scary and intense. Like I can't handle it. Cause you're like, you know what's going to happen, but it's like you're on the edge of your seat. Like, oh.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Yeah, she got him at the end anyway. It also created like a weird fascination, but fear of hidden rooms and things. I like it, but it also scares me a little bit. And I have dreams sometimes where I discover this like other side of a wall that has this whole other area of the place that I'm in. And I don't know if it's because of this, but it did remind me a lot of some nightmares that I've had.
Oh, totally. The whole thing's a nightmare.
The whole thing, very spooky. So there's this other scene where King Stefan and Hubert get super drunk, basically. And I think that this part I always kind of like skipped over when I was little.
Totally
like
boring.
I hated it when I was little, but it's pretty funny watching it now just because of like the shit that happens. But my other favorite side character who I also hated, like I loathed this character when I was little, like hated him so much. The mandolin player who gets super drunk.
Oh,
like, I hated him.
Is that appropriate for children's movies to show like this
not.
very drunk?
Of course,
like, people
not.
getting very
but
drunk.
I thought but watching it now and in my old age, I thought it was pretty funny because he's just like stealing the wine, and I'm like, where did this drunk mandolin player come from? And like, why? And then I was like, is he a child? And that's why he's like wants to drink because he thinks it's cool. But I was like, no, I think he's just like a 40-year-old mandolin player who's an alcoholic because he's a mandolin player. Like I think he has a terrible life.
Just those people who had to provide entertainment to royalty. I feel like in those times was just like a rough time. I mean, I'm sure they're glad to have jobs, but like they're basically like slaves.
But song,
sorry, but that's so funny that you say that, and I think that is such like a kid thing. And we've said this a couple times on this podcast. Like there were like just moments in like every movie when we were a kid, we're like boring, and we like fast forward it or too scary or like whatever. And I just remember that like specifically, and that oh my God, that scene totally fast forward like snooze.
But they do this like drinking song kind of thing, and it's a funny song, and we found out it's actually the word they're saying in this is scrumps.
Scrumps. And they're just like talking about basically like planning their children's lives and like how great it's going to be. They're going to have grandkids.
Like,
and, like,
she should start having babies right away.
Yeah.
Like, who said this was this is not a feminist movie. This is.
And then they like get into an argument because
poor Stefan's like, I actually want to spend time with my daughter who I haven't seen in 16 fucking years. And Hubert's like, nope, she's got to pump out those babies right away.
Right. And he already has planned like a house for them. And it's really sad because when you think about it, like, so she was the princess, right? So like she was getting married and she would have to go live in Philip's kingdom. And because Philip's eventually going to be king and she's going to be the queen there. So it's like kind of bullshit. Yeah.
Super bullshit.
So you'd be like, hey, glad you woke up. Okay, bye. Like bullshit.
Stupid. And they missed out on her whole childhood. So sad. So sad.
Yeah. So this is a musical. So, the songs are like interesting because they're very like,
basic.
They're basic and they're hard to sing because it's basically done by this like very intense choir and like
as a soprano.
It's so high. All the songs are so high. And the only memorable one is the I Know You, I Walk With You, Once Upon a Dream. But I just want to go over them quickly just to refresh everyone's memory. So yes, as Sweetie just said, it starts off with
hail to the king, hail to the queen, hail to the princess Aurora.
And it's like, health to the princess, wealth to the princess, long live the princess Aurora. Hail Aurora. That was the part I always like killed me as a kid.
I'm dead. I've been flattened against my ear is broken.
It was just like so intense, And as Sweetie said, there's like all these flags, and it's like, whoa, party!
Like, is this?
I mean, they didn't have anything to do in medieval times. No. So like the highlight of the life.
Yeah.
And then there's all the gift ones, so that's like the very slow, as we said, the galaxy spiral. Beauty there, golden sun.
I just want to say. Back on the magic spirals, I didn't think that Maleficent's spell was real because there was no magic spiral there telling me what was happening. So I just want to say that was a flaw. Whatever.
Yep. And then So then we go to 16 years later. You know, Briar Rose is now 16, beautiful, and gorgeous voice, right? That was one of her gifts, gift of song. So she sings this basically like soprano, like in the woods with no words, just like, look at my range.
Check these pipes out.
Check these pipes out. But then there is a song like, I wonder. It's so high. Like her voice is so high. It's crazy. And then the very famous, I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you, the gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam. And I know it's true that visions are seldom all they seem. But if I know you, I know what you do. You love me at once the way you did once upon a dream.
A lot of repeating words.
Yeah.
Not too complicated lyrics that somebody made up, but maybe that's intentional. I don't know. Sweet
But
song.
really
Yeah.
pretty. And the melodies of all these again are the Tchaikovsky songs from the ballet, so that they just put words to them, which is pretty ingenious. As Sweetie said, the Scrumps, the drinking song, Scrumps. And then there's one when they put everyone to sleep. And it's like, till then, sleeping beauty, sleep on. Kind of a variation of the one gift kind of one at the beginning. So, like, yeah, pretty simple songs, like a reprise. Not super approachable, but again, just the I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. Beautiful song, very simple. And also, there's not, these aren't songs, but there's some great, like, spell kind of stuff. So, whenever the fairies say spells, so whether it's like Maleficent or Flora doing her spells, they do kind of like a cool like poem kind of rhyming kind of stuff when they do spells, and they're cool. I always really like those.
I still don't understand the different, like, how come sometimes they can just wave their wand and like shit will appear, but like sometimes they have to give this like they have to compose a poem on the spot to make a spell.
I don't know how magic works.
What's the difference? Somebody tell me. Very, very interested to know more about that. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other? Would you want to talk about Philip a little bit?
Sure.
Or okay.
All right. So as I've said in previous podcasts, so what have we done so far? We've done Cinderella and we've done
Aladdin
and Little Mermaid, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure on one of those, I declare my love for Philip. He is my favorite prince. Always have been, the hottest. He has like a little bit more to do than other princes, and I mean, I guess you could say maybe Prince Eric has like some stuff to do. Yeah. Why didn't we like him? What was our thing with that?
Oh, we liked him.
We did like him. Yeah. He's pretty good. He's like second. I think he's my second.
Yeah.
But like Prince Philip is very charming. He's good looking. I mean, basically it's like Ken doll. Let's be real, as all the Disney princes do. And has a great voice though in both singing and just his speaking voice is really hot. Really hot. He can dance. He just seems to have a lot of skills. And I appreciate also in this that he, was totally just going to marry Briar Rose, even though she was just a peasant.
Yeah, it's true. He didn't care.
He was a modern man.
Modern man who was attracted to a beautiful woman in the woods. Yes. Like let's not give him too much credit here. I think he's a wanker. Let's be honest. What? He's obviously a sexual harasser. And just like came up to her and started like dancing with her, put his hands on her hips. Like, whoa, did she tell you could do that? Also, where's the consent and the sleeping kiss? I don't know. No, just kidding. But yeah, he's I warmed to him a little more in this, definitely. Yeah, he just seems really cocky though. Like he's just like,
as like all the princes were though. They're not like humble.
But I don't know. Eric was humble.
You get a bride like literally delivered to you. I mean, do they need to be humble?
No. Yeah, guess not.
It's a weird world. That royalty.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so you like, okay, obviously, okay, we watched this movie and she's dancing and is like, oh my God, I've never like met a boy or whatever like that. And then basically one just falls in her lap and it's like, okay, yep, that's it. No dating for you. Like literally no hardship. Here is your Prince Charming. And we watched these movies as kids and like, I mean, we weren't dumb enough to be like, well, that's going to happen to me for sure. There's no way I'm going to spend 35 years of my life going on 100 bad dates.
Yeah.
And then finally finding somebody. But it's like, why was that the plot? And also like, why did these plots exist? Because in medieval times, that was like certainly not what happened at all. I mean, you were a lot of arranged marriages, first of all, with people who did not look like Prince Philip, and also like really shitty situations for women.
Bad teeth and gross breath.
And maybe that's like why they made it, so it would like that was like this dream
well,
for people.
It set us up for failure,
Yes.
and it's not fair.
It isn't fair.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, oh, it's so easy for you. You got blessed with fairy gifts and are beautiful. Great.
Yeah, and she's still crying for like hours about like not being able to go out on a date. Like, bitch, like suck it up.
I'm a princess.
But I mean, I think it does get a little bit better, obviously, as the princesses go on. I mean, Ariel's situation was not great, and then you had Belle, who basically got sexually harassed for like years with Gaston before she like found a beast.
She became a prisoner in a castle with the beast.
Yes. So I feel like it wasn't that easy. But her situation seems pretty darn good, and I just I hope little girls don't watch this and hope for any kind of Prince Charming, because honestly, like that whole thing needs to be completely vanquished. I just don't believe it, and it's come to be the case that really that doesn't exist, and you need to be your own Prince Charming is what I want to say.
There you go.
Like you can't wait for someone to rescue you in a castle. And I know she was sleeping and that was part of the curse,
Right.
but like it's not great.
Yeah.
What is that like movie where someone is reading
Sex in the City.
or Baby Boom when she's like reading the story to
Hers
like
is
little
like, oh
Elizabeth?
yeah, but then she said, oh, I could go to the ball with you or like something, but I have to go to college
Yeah.
and get a job and earn my master's degree.
I
and
love
like
that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I want fucking
Yeah.
stories about. Like none of this like bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean, these ones are still like, I wouldn't be like, little girl, don't watch this movie. I'd like let her watch it, but then explain, like Baby Boom-esque, you can do other things.
Well, and like I said, like we weren't naive enough to think like that's exactly how the
I mean,
world
I didn't
worked.
think exactly, but I did think like I would have a shot with with a Prince Philip. I just figured it would
You
be
thought
easier.
you would have a shot with
I
the
just
owl
didn't
in the boots.
I just didn't think there was a lot of work involved. Like,
Like, I might get an animal.
I just like always thought I was going to be this like amazing babe, and it never
you
happened.
are
and I
an
think
amazing babe.
I'm not like friends with the forest critters and singing
you are
beautiful
not.
songs. Like it's just
That's
like
true.
effort. Like she was. I don't know. It's just it's dumb. Just to have to remind you, I asked a magic 8-ball if I would be pretty when I was like
Oh my
6.
God.
Yeah.
What did it say?
I don't remember. Probably yes, but I probably did it like 3 times until I got the answer I wanted. But whatever. I am pretty.
You are pretty. Okay, couple trivia facts, and then I'm just going to talk a little bit about the ballet. So, as when we did Cinderella, a couple overlaps between the two voices. So you have the Cinderella stepmother, same voice as Maleficent. Pretty cool, pretty cool. That woman has an awesome vocal talent. Like, she's fucking scary. And then the fairy godmother in Cinderella is Flora in this one. So definitely like sweet
Fairies.
little old lady voice.
Basically character types.
Yeah.
As both of them,
Yeah,
evil
definitely.
people or fairies.
But really effective. And like I don't know, I could definitely tell from the stepmother in Cinderella, but I don't know if I knew about the fairy godmother.
That's the one I knew like
Oh, really?
immediately. I was
Like,
like, oh,
I
that's
could
definitely her.
totally tell.
Same exact. Yeah.
All right, so as I said, the ballet I'm like super familiar with because not only did I like dance it and I've seen it a bunch of times. It's like one of my favorite ballets. Love it. So a couple differences between the ballet and the cartoon. So I guess so the ballet she's called Aurora. In the German fairy tale, she's called Briar Rose. So they combine those two, which is pretty good. They use both of them.
Yeah.
Very cool. Maleficent, new name for that witch in the ballet. Her name is Caraboss. Scary.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. So in the ballet, she is. It's an actual oversight of her not being on the invite list. So the very beginning scene, you have like the guy who's in charge of putting together the invite list, forgetting that he forgot to invite her, and then he gets fired. It's like this big thing. In the ballet, there's way more fairies. There's like 8 of them, so they cut them down to just like the couple. The prince not betrothed to her. So what happens in the ballet is that she pricks her finger. They make the whole village then sleep for 100 years, and then it's on that 100-year mark that the prince comes out of nowhere, and Aurora comes to him in a dream, and the main fairy in the ballet is this lilac fairy, and she like takes him in a boat to the kingdom, which is all covered with vines, and he goes in there, and Maleficent, or Carabosse in the ballet, is protecting it, and then he has to battle her, but then he goes and like I said, the third act is all the Aurora's wedding, so you have like all these fairy tale characters. So you have Puss in Boots, the white cat, you have this blue bird, which is a really cool variation, Little Red Riding Hood, and like there's all these like funny little fairy tale characters that are all guests at the wedding. So it's cool. It's like it's a great ballet if you are like interested in that at all. I think it's one of the more approachable ones, like definitely a little bit better than the Nutcracker, like way more dancing and like really very classic stuff. Totally recommend it. So if you have a ballet company, in your area, definitely go see that one. And like I said, the music is fucking amazing, and it is just like the movie, the Sleeping Beauty Disney version. It's just awesome music, and you're gonna totally love it. And like I said, I was Sleeping Beauty. I was Aurora. One of my favorite parts, obviously, hands down, really, really fun. And the version we did actually was really cool. I had this like really very smart like director of our ballet school, and he did like basically the Disney version. So we had combined, it was the ballet plus the singing of all the songs from the Disney version. So like
who sang?
So we had like a chorus of villagers who sang like all the songs that were in the
I don't know if I remember that part of it.
Yeah. It was really cool. So people like loved it, and it got like such good reviews, and it was just, I felt like such a princess. It was the most fabulous role ever, and like I got to prick my finger and die, and then there was like a whole part where I had to sleep on this bed during this like whole scene. And then we had this guy come in who was like the prince. He was like an older guy. And I remember he had to kiss me, and I was like, oh. I think I was in 8th grade. So
okay,
I mean, I was ready. I was like ready, but he was not someone you want to have a crush on. He was like gross. Remember him?
Wasn't that gross?
He was gross.
He was like a Russian. Was he? Like
No, his name was like
guy?
Joseph. He had the biggest butt in the world.
Because who doesn't have a big butt and white tights?
He was really nice though. He was nice, and we danced well together. But it was pretty
illegal,
gross.
Though?
I think he kissed me on the cheek.
Okay, let's hope so.
Me on the lips.
Let's hope so, Joseph.
I mean, in Cinderella, I had to pretend to be in love with my gay ballet teacher.
I know. I have a lot of problems with these setups.
Tough couple years for me. I mean, I was very confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so great, and definitely like role of a lifetime for me. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Go, sweetie.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last parting words? Have we said it all?
I'm so excited to watch more Disney movies.
Guys, it's all happening. We're gonna do it. We'll do some more like bonus episodes because all of those like old Disney shows are on there, like DuckTales, even though we already kind of talked about that one. Woo. There's a lot, so I'm excited.
Is that Alice in Ventures in Wonderland on there?
No, there's not any like super fringy stuff like that yet. So I mean, there's a couple of the older movies like Escape, Bedknobs and Broomsticks is on there. And
done that. So good. You guys have listened to that one. Holy shit.
Yeah. So we'll just have to explore, see what we got. Hopefully they'll add some more stuff, but I definitely want to do some Disney original movies. Like I have a lot of plans. So good times. Very excited. But yeah, come and find us. Talk to us about Disney Plus. Talk to us about the Sleeping Beauty. Oh, another funny thing. Is the ballet called The Sleeping Beauty? And this is just Sleeping Beauty. Right?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Expert. Thanks. Do you know the answer? Find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye, sleeping retardist.